Kalen DeBoer's got to deal with the legacy of Nick Saban. He's also got to do it against a pretty difficult schedule in 2024. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Roll Tide. We appreciate you being here. Please like the video and subscribe. We are running down the Alabama schedule and the percentage chances of Alabama losing/winning these games in Kalen DeBoer's inaugural season in Tuscaloosa. Of course, the Alabama standard is super high, only eclipsed in recent years by Georgia. Nick Saban, the best record in college football, both during regular season play, during his stay in Tuscaloosa, and then, of course, the postseason with 6 national championships since 2009. For Bama to keep up with that standard, they got to deal with Georgia, and they've got to do it in Tuscaloosa on September 28th. Of course, when there was an East and West division split in the SEC, these two only got together every 6 years, but this is going to be a more frequent matchup for college football fans to enjoy going forward. We're giving Bama a 38% chance to defeat the consensus #1 team in the nation. Nick Saban owned this series, although he did lose the last matchup with Kirby Smart in the 2021 national championship game. On to the November 9th clash against LSU. This has become one of the most viewed games in college football on television over the past 20 seasons. It was a barn burner the last time they got together in Death Valley, a 33-32 win for LSU, which meant that they would go on to the SEC championship game, and it cost Alabama a playoff appearance in 2022. We give Bama a 44% chance of going on the road and winning this game against LSU, which basically means we think Bama is a slightly better football team overall. Neutral site would give them more of a low 60% tile chance of winning this game at home against LSU, but Death Valley, one of the more difficult places to play in all of college football, as is Knoxville, Tennessee. Now, of course, Nick Saban's teams were so much better for so long, and they dodged a few bullets against Butch Jones and Derek Dooley and all those Tennessee teams, but they, of course, won all those games under Nick Saban until their last trip in Knoxville, losing on the last-second field goal, 52-49 in a classic. They were down 2 scores, was Bama at home to Tennessee last year at halftime, but came roaring back to win 34-20. The two teams get together on October 19th. We give Bama a 54% chance of winning at Tennessee. We give Bama a similar chance of winning on the road at Norman, 58%, on November 23rd, as, of course, the Sooners and Texas enter the SEC. The Tide has taken on Texas the last 2 years, and probably one of the big reasons why they do not play this season. 58% is the chance of winning in Norman, according to the Voice of College Football. The only trip Bama ever took to Oklahoma was back in 2002 against Bob Stoops' teams, when the Sooners won back-to-back games in 2002, 2003. Of course, they won the 2013 Sugar Bowl, but Bama won the playoff matchup in 2018. Missouri has suddenly become a factor. Suddenly, this is a big game. And again, like other former Eastern Division foes, except Tennessee, Bama will face them more often than they have in the past. These two teams last got together in 2019 and 2020. They face each other October 26th, give Bama a 64% chance of defeating a Mizzou team that finished 11-2 last year and won the Cotton Bowl. November 30th, of course, is the big showdown in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. This is often a monumental struggle for Bama, and was the last 2 trips to Auburn. On the Plains, they struggle, but look at the matchups in Tuscaloosa. Over the past 6 matchups, going back to 2012, Bama has won those games by 160 points, an average of a 27-point win against Auburn, and they've got the Tigers in Tuscaloosa on November 30th. The Tide goes on the road and travels north of the Mason-Dixon line for the first time since 2010 at Penn State, as they go to Camp Randall Stadium to take on Wisconsin. Bama won this matchup in 2015 in Houston, give the Tide a 78% chance of winning against Luke Fickell and company. Of course, the Tide took on Cincinnati's team under Luke Fickell in the 2021 playoffs. On October 12th, Bama goes to South Carolina, the scene of one of the program's greatest wins in school history, as they upset the defending national champions in 2010, Greg McElroy and company. but I give South Carolina little chance to do it again. 91% probability of Bama winning this game against one of the weaker rosters in the SEC on October 12th. September 7th, we've got USF coming to town, and of course, Tampa was the site of a rare Bama road game against a group of 5 as they went to the NFL stadium and almost tripped up. They were down 3-0 in the second half, won 17-3 in an ugly game with Tyler Buckner at quarterback. South Florida was a much improved team last year at 7-6 with talented quarterback Byron Brown at the helm. Give Bama a 94% chance of defeating the Bulls at home, and remembering that game from 2023 and trying to make amends and make a statement in this game against USF. I'm actually giving South Florida a better chance of defeating Bama than an SEC team, Vanderbilt. Bama goes to Nashville on October 5th. Give them a 96% chance of defeating the Commodores, who went 0-8 in the SEC, were basically not in any of those games. Bama won the last meeting in 2022, 55-3. And then you've got a date against Western Kentucky to open the season at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Give Bama a 98% chance of winning against a really nice Group of 5 program that is typically one of the better teams at that level of play. They like to sling it around. They finished at 8-5 in 2023. And then, of course, November 16th is the Mercer game. And you could call it a mercy killing of sorts. Bama, 99% certainty of winning that game. Of course, Bama's got the talent, and they've got the quarterback to win any of these games, and they've got a proven coach, even though this is going to be his first year in Tuscaloosa, and there's usually a reasonable transition period. If you go strictly by the percentages I delivered, Bama's going to go 10-2, and they would make the college football playoff. But, of course, look at the percentage chances of winning against the likes of Mizzou and Tennessee and Oklahoma, and it makes it likely that Bama trips up another time and finishes at 9-3. We will, of course, have our predictions on Bama, the rest of the SEC, and the rest of college football coming up later this summer. Would love to get your comments down below on our win probabilities for Bama for 2024 right here at the Voice of College Football.